Hello again. Welcome to Summit VB Fan. I'm your host, Jeremy Cleveland, and I'll once again be your guide on this feed throughout the 2026 Summit League volleyball season. Well, we'll continue our countdown to first serve on August the 28th with team preview number 3. This time around, we'll preview the defending tournament champions, the Tommies of St. Thomas. And if you like a Cinderella story, St. Thomas was your team last year. The glass slipper fit. And in their first year transitioning from Division 3 to Division 1, or I should say first year of eligibility, the Tommies advanced to the NCAA Tournament, where they ultimately lost in 5 sets to Iowa State. So the Tommies finished the year overall at 21-10, 11-5 in Summit League play. They are led by 24th year head coach Thanh Pham, and he's done a tremendous job there, of course. 531 wins, 246 defeats. Now, it was a little rocky to start in Summit League play. He's just 22-56 in the Summit League, but transitioning from D3 to Division 1, we'll cut him some slack for that. And if you're a fan of North Dakota, Kansas City, or Oral Roberts, I want you to look at the last 5 years here. It doesn't happen overnight, but with a lot of hard work, good recruiting, good coaching, and execution by the players, it can happen. The Tommies went 3-25 in 2021, 4-26 in 2022, 7-20 in 23, and then finally they had the breakout in 2024. They got over the hump, winning record in the Summit League at 10-6. They went 18-10 overall, and then they broke down the door in 2025, once again winning the tournament championship. Now, things will not be easy this year. Out of the teams we previewed so far, they by far and away have the least amount of points returning and sets played. 54% of their points returning, 46% of their sets played returning. However, they do have a strong foundation. 2 award winners returning, including the 2-time setter of the year, Morgan Kealy. She's a good one. And then the freshman of the year from last year, Anya Schmidt, an outside hitter. And if you watch those two against the Gophers in the spring match, yeah, St. Thomas took a set off of Minnesota in that one. The Tommies can hang with almost anyone. Now, they lost 2 award winners from a season ago. First teamer, middle blocker, Morgan Wetter. She was the one who had the kill to send the Tommies to the NCAA tournament. And right side first teamer, Tezra Rudzitis. So 2 big losses there for the Summit. We go to page 2. They lost more than that. They lost 9 seniors and a lot of leadership and experience. That'll by far and away, I believe, be the longest list we see on the right side for players lost as we go through these previews. But once again, strong core, strong foundation. So let's go through each position group. And I'm breaking down the position groups as they have it listed on the website. I know it could be broke down differently, but I'll go with their website anyway. So we'll start on the right side. Rudzitis, big loss, of course, set the program single season records in kills per set, hitting percentage, and points. I'd say that's pretty good. Now, what they have returning there, they have a 6-foot sophomore out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Emery Brosnahan. She played 2 sets last year, but she was highly recruited out of South Dakota, number 1 in her position, number 4 overall in the South Dakota class of 2025. So I expect her to have a bigger role this season. Also, returning is Addison Menifee, 6'1" sophomore out of Missouri City, Texas. Almost want to say Missouri or Kansas there, but Missouri City, Texas. She redshirted in 2025. She was honorable mention in high school in her district, and that was a big district. It's the Houston area, so that was a nice accomplishment. And then they also have a 6-foot senior out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, returning, Miriam Yu, I'll call her. She redshirted in 2025, played 30 sets combined between 23 and 24. So that list right there, on paper anyway, would not easily replace Rudzitis. However, they addressed something in the portal on May the 26th where the stock went up this year for the Tommies. They bring in a good one from Shoreview, Minnesota, coming home, a Mounds View kid, Audrey Kay, a 6'2" junior. She transfers in from Providence. She had 189 kills, 402 assists, 217 digs, 56 blocks, and 43 aces. Let's just say she's well-rounded. How good was she out of high school out of Mounds View? She was a national number 171 recruit in the nation on Prep Dig. She was number 3 overall in the Minnesota class of 2024. So they expect big things, and I would expect big things out of her. So I think she can fill that void that they were maybe missing, losing Tezra after last season. So that was a very, very key move in the portal by the Tommies. Next up, next position group, we go to DSL. Losers they lost last year, I should say. Ella V, 115 sets played, 3.75 digs per set, 4th in the Summit. Then they also lost 17 sets played from Chapman. Returning at this position, Taylor McNear, 5'6" senior out of Cary, North Carolina, 27 sets played last season. She started her collegiate career at App State. Now, they also go into the portal and add some experience here. Sophia Del Valle, 5'6" graduate senior out of Canton, Georgia. She played 4 years at Presbyterian, played 74 sets a season ago. Going to bring in a lot of leadership and experience at the position. Then they also go to the freshman level. They add a freshman, 5'6", out of New Prague, Minnesota. I've been to New Prague. They had a place called Schumacher's, a hotel and a good German restaurant back in the day. It is Kira Bundich that they added. She was number 3 at the position, number 10 overall in the Minnesota class of 2026. So given those metrics, don't be shocked if she gets plenty of playing time this upcoming season as well. Next position group, we go to outside hitter. They lose Caitlin Peterson, played 10 sets last year. They return a lot of talent here, and they add a key piece to keep an eye on. So Anya Schmidt, 5'10", sophomore out of Rogers, Minnesota, freshman of the year in the Summit League last season, started all 31 matches, 3.64 sets points per set. She was 10th nationally in total aces, and back in high school, she was a Minnesota Gatorade Player of the Year for 24-25, and I believe she was coached by her dad. So yes, she's really been coached up over the course of time, so she's a good one to watch. They also have returning Ellie Gustafson, 5'11", senior out of Monticello, Wisconsin. She started all 31 matches last year, had 2.57 kills per set, 2.35 digs per set, so well-rounded player there. Also returning Cameron Overton, 5'11", sophomore out of Indianola, Iowa. Easy for me to say. 26 sets played last year. She was highly recruited, Iowa class of 2025, third best at her position, 28th overall in the state of Iowa. Also returning, Maddie Venka, 5'9", junior out of Minnehaha, Minnesota, played 6 sets last year, and she was the number 33rd ranked recruit at her position in the Minnesota class of 2024. Key addition that could be a wild card and a huge upside for this upcoming year. It's Lunsky, a 5'10" freshman out of Chanhassen, Minnesota, number 3 at the position, number 8 overall in the Minnesota class of 2026, 2,000-plus kills in high school, top 10 in Minnesota State history. So that will be a name to watch carefully to see how quickly she gets into the fold, how much playing time she gets right away. And if the upside is there immediately, the Tommies are probably going to be a whole lot better than I was thinking back in March with all the departures, losing 9 seniors. Next spot, we go to setter. They lost Win Hunt, who played 19 sets, returning, of course, the setter of the year from the last 2 years, Morgan Kealy, 5'11", senior out of River Falls, Wisconsin, 10.08 assists per set last year, 1.41 points per set. She has 2,847 career assists, so she has the job. There's no doubt about that. They have now added, I guess the succession plan is starting. It's Ella Thorson, 6-foot freshman out of Lake Elmo, Minnesota. My sister and her family, they've lived in Lake Elmo for 30-plus years. I didn't know Ella was their neighbor. I needed to find that out. And Ella's dad is a famous basketball coach, Dave Thorson. He's an assistant for the Golden Gophers. So I hope to see him in the stands at one of these matches in the near future. But number 7 at the position, number 23 overall in the Minnesota class of 2026. Sounds like they have a good replacement in the future for Morgan once she's ready to move on. Next up position group, we go to middle blocker, where they lose a really big piece. Morgan Wetter, once again, 2024 and 2025 Summit League first teamer, 3.43 points per set, 309 hitting percentage. That's a huge loss that they will need to replace. Emma Gorger, 28 sets played last year. She is also gone. Returning, though, Addie Schmotzer, 6'2 senior out of Madison, Wisconsin. I know I just mispronounced that name. I mispronounce a lot of things. I apologize to everyone for that. 26 starts a year ago, 238 hitter. Also back this year, Riley Kurth, 6'2 sophomore out of Maple Grove. She redshirted last year, kind of knowing that Wetter was still around. They didn't really need her last year, but she will be a factor this year. She was number 6 at her position, number 34 in the Minnesota class of 2025. So you can see Coach Pham really recruited well here, at least with the metrics out there. So he has some good replacements in the pipeline to get playing time. And obviously, we didn't know 5 for 5 was coming. He probably didn't need to redshirt everyone that he did, but that's how it goes in college athletics. It's a moving target. You don't always know what's going to happen. And then rounding out the returning players anyway, Heidi Wingate, 6'1" sophomore out of Katy, Texas, also redshirted last year. She was number 170 in the huge state of Texas class of 2025. And then they did add one player this year. It's Maddie Jones, a 6-foot freshman out of Meriden, Idaho. I like to say Idaho. First team all-conference in the state of Idaho last season. So that's the middle blocker position looking forward for the Tommies. Next up, other. I just put it in an other category. They have SDS and right side outside hitter. Ava Wild is no longer there. She graduated, and then Allie Kopp played 115 sets, 2.28 digs percent last year. Had a lot of service aces as well. She was good on the serve. Both of those are gone. They don't have anybody labeled to those positions this year, so no one returning or added. Let's go to the next page, and we'll look at the Tommies non-conference schedule. Their non-conference schedule ranks 3rd in the conference behind South Dakota State and South Dakota. They have some challenging matches here. There's no doubt about that. They're going to face 4 top 100 Massey teams from a season ago. Unlike last year where they didn't play any home matches in the non-conference, they get to play 4 at home this year. Plus they have one in the backyard, I guess, at Minnesota, taking on the Gophers where they already played this spring as well. Good test right away. They go to Laramie to take on both Wyoming and Texas Tech. Both of those teams kind of similar range to where St. Thomas is. If the Tommies split that, that's probably a good success story considering it's on the road. And then after that, they come home for Montana State, UIC, and Milwaukee. 3 matches that I think they'll be favored in or expected to win. So hopefully at that point, they're 4-1, if not better, because then they enter a tough period of the schedule where they're going to face Miami and Minnesota, ranked 15th and 14th, respectively, a year ago. Then they go on the road to Marquette, where they'll also take on Western Michigan at that tournament in Milwaukee. So, yeah, not an easy schedule. They actually played the least number of matches of any team in the Summit League with only 9 non-conference matches here. If they, on paper, they're probably scheduled to go 5-4. Anything better than that would be a huge success, especially replacing 9 seniors. I think Coach Pham would probably take that in a heartbeat if they could beat a 5-4 record going into conference play. It's not an easy test, especially with kind of some of the pieces they're needing to replace anyway. So that's my look at the Tommies. Like I said, going into this process with St. Thomas, probably in March when I was looking at everything, I had the Tommies maybe slip into number 5. But when you look at this program, I underestimated them in 2024. So did the preseason coaches poll. Same with 2025. So they've exceeded expectations the last 2 years. I'm not going to want to go against them because they like to exceed expectations. But now with the late ads that they had in the portal, I think they addressed some holes there. We'll see exactly how that plays out. But I could now see the Tommies getting a whole lot closer to the South Dakota and South Dakota State than I originally thought. Are they better than North Dakota State and Omaha? We'll find out. It's going to those 3 through 5, in my opinion, you may be able to throw them in a bucket and pick them out where they're going to finish. It's going to be a very, very competitive Summit League, I think, between those first 5 teams anyway. And I've yet to dig into 6 through 8 enough to know if we have some programs that'll be up and coming this year that could challenge more than I'm thinking. But yeah, St. Thomas, what a year last year. Let's see what they do for an encore this year. There's a lot to be excited about Tommies volleyball. That's for sure. They've done a tremendous job here building up the program, transitioning from Division III to Division I, and hopefully for an encore this year, they can put together another great season. Before we wrap here, final page, don't forget to join volleytalk.proboards.com. I'm going to promote this on every single team preview because I like where Summit League people can get together and talk about the Summit League instead of the individual team message boards. Let's all try to go to one central spot, talk some trash if you want, just stir it up between Summit League teams. Vote for the two teams that you predict will reach the championship. And I'm probably in the minority right now because right now the vote out there has St. Thomas taking on South Dakota State just like last year for the championship. I don't think that'll be the case, but we'll find out. You can also predict the league records for Summit League teams. That's always fun. That'll start a conversation. You guys can disagree with me out there, but all season long, join the conversation and keep the Summit League on the national radar at volleytalk.proboards.com. Thank you for joining me for another preview. My next preview, my team, the North Dakota State Bison. I can't wait for that one. You're going to have to try to keep me on topic there because I may put the fan hat on too much instead of an analyst hat. But hey, volleyball's getting close. Have a great night. Let's play volleyball soon.